it helps. Doesn't matter when you're falling though, anyway. So today is October sometime, and a very impromptu, we've decided we're going to hold the last of the single-handed, two-handed race series. The round, we're very tight, it's very tight at the top, three of us pretty much, only 1 point separating each of us, so it'd be a shame to not finish the series, even though really it's just for fun. And the last race of the series ended up being no wind, so we couldn't do it. There's not that much wind today, to be honest, but what have I got? Well, I've got 7 knots at the moment, but because I'm going with it, I don't feel much of it. So, but anyway, we're going to hold it. There's 4 of us, I think, at the moment, so not many, but the 3 main protagonists, if that's the word, are in it. And I've got Sulis, my old sparring partner. So, so it should be good. Sun's out. It's a bit chilly when you're out in the sun, but it's actually really hot when you're in it. I've got too many clothes on, really. I've got my salopettes on because the decks are all wet, like you do at this time of year. But should be good. The only other slight problem is I'm only 3/4 scrubbed off. We haven't scrubbed off for a month, pretty much since the last time you saw us racing. And I jumped on because there was a queue, there was a space first thing this morning, but didn't quite get finished. And the guy who was on after me got a bit shirty because I was 5 minutes past my time and made me stop. So even though he wasn't ready himself and had to get his dinghy to go and get his boat, but I can't complain because that's what we have the system for, I guess. But it was a bit frustrating. Anyway, I've got the keel and the rudder done, so they're the important bits. We'll see what happens. Not easy judging this line, is it? Get a puff and we'll be over it. No puff, we'll never make it. Over the line now, aren't I?
So as you can probably tell, this isn't really going to plan. The tack line on the corner of the spinnaker had come unclipped. Fortunately, because it's light winds and it was hidden behind the main, it didn't flap around everywhere, so I had time to go forward, retrieve the line and hook it back onto the sail. But during this manoeuvre, I hadn't put the altar helm on, so the boat was merrily steering its own course. By the time it was hooked on, the spinnaker filled and flew straight out as far as the lines would allow it. A lot of people don't like knots in their spinnaker sheets because it can give you problems, but today was one of those days where it actually got me out of trouble, although there was plenty of winching to do to get things back under control.
Blimey, that was hard work. The wind's got some south in it now, which wasn't on the cards. All the time we've been here, it's had just west, now it's got south in it. And as luck would have it, I made the best start, even though the one corner of the spinnaker came unclipped. The guy end. And I know I clipped it on because I had to unclip it to get it around the jib, and I made sure, and I looked at the catch thinking that was a bit funny, he must have caught on something as it went up or something. Anyway, white reefer, with that huge spinnaker's coming over the top now, and there's not really anything I can do. I could race him up into the lee of St Mary's Island, but that would do any of us any good. So just got to deal with what you got. I'm not unhappy with my line down here. If the wind has got south in it, it's going to get messy at St Mary's Island. Oh, it's just gone light. So there's a few minutes gone by, not a lot's changed. White reefer is still stretching away a little bit. Red Reefer has gone right out the tide over West St Mary's Island. Sulis is kind of hedging their bets a bit. But I am worried that the next leg, spinnaker's dead, only 3 knots of wind. The next leg could take the apparent really forward, so it might be a struggle. So I don't know how much more filming I'm doing. White Reefer has already got the spinnaker on the forestay, and they haven't turned right yet, so we'll see. So all the regular viewers will know we've had some conversation recently about whether I should be putting music over the films or not. And one of my arguments is the wind noise makes the audio impossible to hear. But we aren't having that problem today. Got 4 knots of wind, it's not making much noise. Hear the motorway more than anything else. Okay, my plan might be coming together here. White Reefer has just sailed into the hole that I thought there would be behind St Mary's Island. This could be where I look clever. Or it could be we're all sailing into a hole and no one's going to look clever. So far it promises to be a long race, because we'll get down there all right because the tide turns in now, but getting back the tide's going to get stronger and stronger and we got to beat back in this. Although the wind is set to build, so not by very much, but maybe get to 9 knots, something like that. We'll see. Okay, so I need to film this, not really to humiliate Aaron and the others, but really just to be smug. Time will tell, but at the moment I'm looking good. Still got, it's just collapsing. I did still have some pressure, but it's just died. I'm gonna have to put this down. That feeling of smugness didn't last long. It's just a big hole. I still feel like I'm in the right place, but I haven't just sailed around the outside of them. This last race of the single-handed series is doomed. This is why we didn't do the time it was meant to be run. Still, plenty of time. Okay, so another 10 minutes has gone by or whatever, but White Reefer has got a bit of a puff and seems to have a bit of way on. I'm hoping it's coming my way. I can feel the pressure building and the spinnaker actually is flying at the moment. The others are still languishing in the hole. But it does look to be filling in all over. So I better start sailing again. Difficult to get in a position to show this, but Reefer is jibing. Wind has gone aft here and we are turning the corner again, so we are going to have to jibe at some point. Whether this is the time to do it, I don't know, but Aaron obviously thinks so, and looking at the way the spinnaker's flying, I think I probably will as well.
Round the world next, I reckon.
One river at a time. Okay, really messy jibe, but to be fair, there was no wind. I can see why Aaron did what he did now as well. But but it was such a jibe that it didn't really matter because there was no wind. So you kind of jibe the spinnaker waiting for the next puff to come along, and then fortunately the puff came, pop, off we went again. Just to complicate things slightly, some friends came along in a rib for a chat just when I was doing all that as well, which kind of took my mind off things, or distracted me from things, but not complaining. Not really much goes wrong on a day like today. But anyway, poles are right height now, twinner lines are off and on. I think I've done all the things I need to do. I feel like that hole has cost me a bit. Aaron has got away from me a little bit, and Red Reefer and Sulis have kind of come into me a little bit. But it's not a day for worrying about little gaps. Given that we're well into autumn, it really is a glorious day. There is quite literally not a cloud in the sky. And it's not cold when you're in the sun. It's a bit chilly when you're out of it, but we just need a bit more wind. And less of these waves. I've got waves coming now. Don't know what caused them, but anyway, Aaron's just hardened up, reaching down between the faults. That's the next job. So Reefer X went round Folly Pecan, this one here, and hardened up to go over the barges. Basically, I guess to stay out of tide. It is a slightly longer distance. I am kind of thinking I'm going to just sail the rum line to the next corner, Darnet Point, shortest distance, and I really don't think there's much tide. You can't see it now, and it must be pretty much over. So a bit preoccupied, didn't realise I had friends next to me. Fellow blaze sailor. When we both had blazes, we've now got old and bought yachts. Such is life. Red Reefer and Sulis. Sulis is still further out in the tide. Red Reefer kind of cutting the corner like I was. It won't last long, but this leg between the faults is actually quite nice. There's actually now 6 knots of wind, but because it's much more of a broad reach, we've got I've still got 3 knots of apparent and making 3 knots through the water. So in fact, if you believe the log and the GPS, there's still a tiny bit of tide coming in, but not very much. I still think I might as well just cut the corner, go straight there rather than try and stay out of tide. The Medway cruisers had their last fling at Queenborough last night. And that's the tender they took with them. It's travelling in style, isn't it? There was quite a few of them, and I imagine they came back from the pub quite late, but still, good going. Another tactical decision here. Aaron has done kind of the normal thing when the tide's coming in and gone right over to the north shore. There's a large mud bank over there, so there's a bit of tidal relief. But the mark we're going towards is kind of down there. I think I am going to bank on the tide has turned, or at least is slack, and I'm just going to go straight there. That way, if the tide has turned, I'll actually get some help from it, and it keeps me clear of wind. He's going to be in a bit of wind shadow over there behind the jetty, so could work for me, might not, we'll see. So Aaron on White Reefer has just jibed over there. Maybe the plan wasn't them worrying about the tide, maybe he was just sailing the angles to keep the apparent up. Don't know. Red Reefer is heading the same way, though like all of us, we're struggling with wind. I always find it hard on a yacht to know what angles to sail downwind. I'm pretty much going dead downwind, which in a dinghy is like a no-no. And to be frank, I imagine in a yacht it's a no-no as well, except I never know what angle to sail, so I tend to sail shortest distance when it's a dead run like this, because this thing doesn't accelerate, you know. There's no apparent wind involved, so I figure shortest distance is best, but that's probably not true. So if anyone knows how you work out what angle you want to sail downwind without taking hundreds of measurements and polars and stuff, or even at least experience of a similar boat to Seahorse to know what the right angle is downwind, I'd love to know. So let me know in the comments, as they all say. Okay, so the first time in this race, 2.4 is the speed through the water, 2.4 is the GPS speed over the ground. And although I do take care to try and ensure that these two are kind of reasonably well calibrated, that's not easy on a tidal river, and there's bound to be some error. But where is it? Somewhere. I can't do the whole finger thing again. Anyway, that green buoy that's over there, I'll look at the tide on that and we'll decide. But I think I might be jibing to get back out into the channel as opposed to keeping out of it. We'll see. Certainly isn't much on that market, boy is there. And if there's anything, I'd say it's behind it and the tide is now going out. Yeah, it's going out. So I am jibing over there.
Provide us request to pick up when you're available, please. No worries, many thanks, over and out.
Reefer's dry back. This wind has gone, what's it gone? More west again. Some of the south's gone out of it. White reefer has jibed as well, but then of course he's about to go round that green mark, which is 15, the first mark of our course.
How is progress with the front of the fleet, please?
So this is the tricky bit of the race. This old pier is going to give us a lot of dirty air, but that red mark you can see in front of us is the next mark of the course. Oh. And I'm already pretty close to the forestay, so it's tight, and I've still got another 10-15 degrees to go up. I'm trying to keep clear of this jetty a bit because there's always dirty air around it. In fact, you can see the huge hole in the wind sitting there. But of course, if I keep too far away from it, I'll never get back up to the next mark. So decisions. But if it was easy, everyone would do it, wouldn't they? There's 15, red reefer just coming up to it, so he's not far behind me. And technically he's a slower boat, so it's probably beating me on handicap. Okay, it's all round quite a nice leg, this leg. Now you get round West Bullock, it's broadening out. I've actually got 8 knots of wind at the moment. It's the most it's been, so let's hope that's a good sign and it's going to stay with us for the beat back, because we'll get back in 8 knots, all right. If it drops off to the 2-3s we've had at times on this run, we aren't going anywhere against the tide. But yet again, it's not the most exciting race because we're all spread out, although we are in sight of each other, so it's not bad. But it's actually a glorious sail. I mean, you know, it's the end of the season. It should be cold, wet and miserable. I mean, it is England. And actually, the sun's out. We've got enough wind to go sailing, although a bit more would be nice. Blue skies, fantastic. White reefer has already jibed though, so maybe something's about to shift and I'll end up jibing as well. Certainly, whatever happens, I want to jibe before we get to 13, because you don't want to be going around the mark, jibing and everything else. You want to get round it and be off, don't you? So, and then we're down to Stangate, and then it's a beat back. No marks, just get back. So, which is good because it will be a proper beat. And I don't like it when they put marks in for no reason, because it kind of takes the tactical options out. When we've just got the whole river to play with, there might be some tactical opportunities. Equally, there could be some big mistakes to make. So let's look for tactical opportunities. Right, I'm not even at 13 yet and I made a right mess of that. Spinnaker had collapsed, me trying to get the sheets in the right place. Decided light wind, doesn't really matter, I'll just drive it. Ended up then with a knot around the forestay. Got the knot out around the forestay, which turned into a wine glass, and there is enough pressure. I should have jibed that nicely and not given up so quickly. Still, we got away with it, so it's not a big disaster. Okay, tactically not the best thing I've ever done. Got that down way too early. I've finished, tidied up, and I've still got 2 minutes to the mark. The mistake I made was I was trying to preempt all the things that could happen, So I thought I'll get the jib up a bit early because I thought it'd be all right. But of course, I've got the bigger jib on today, and it was a tight reach. So of course, the spinnaker immediately was effectively in the lee of the jib and collapsed. So then what do? You sit there with the spinnaker flapping, drop the jib again, or so I dropped the spinnaker. The only thing in my favour is that although the wind's only down to 5 knots again, at least the tide is going out. It's taking me down to the mark. So still, white reefer, probably can't see. It's already gone round and he's back to about the same line that red reefer is now. So pretty much we're all kind of spread out the same amount. Don't know what that means on handicap. But, anyway, got a jibe round here and round up in a neat seaman-like manner. Okay, don't know if this is going to work because I don't want to trust the auto helm. I'm definitely coming into white reefer at the moment, but it's really fluky wind. You've got to kind of catch the little puffs and shifts as they come. Don't know if you can see them in the distance, but I'm not in a position to zoom in. Red reefer, I've just passed, and kind of good news from my point of view, he dropped his spinnaker too early as well, so that hasn't disadvantaged me. Got to get back at white reefer now though and pull away. Of course the tide is going to be closing us all up, which is going to make it look like I'm coming at him, so actually thinking about it, perhaps I'm not. Anyway, I've got to sail the boat. Okay, tactically this beat is going to start getting a bit tricky. The wind is kind of blowing straight down. I can't remember what this is. Is this keyhole reach? I don't think it is actually. I don't know what this reach is. Between 13 and 15. Straight down there. So we've got a beat up there against the tide. There's going to be less tide on the other side, but you've got to cross the tide then to get over to it. And then you've got to get around that jetty that you saw on the way up here. It's easier therefore to stay out of the tide on the left hand side here, but then it's flooding out of Otterham Creek. So I don't know what to do. One thing is for sure, tacks is definitely not a day for tacking. There's only 5 knots of wind. Because I've got some speed up now, my apparent is 8 knots, which is quite saleable, but if I tack and lose that speed, it's going to take forever to build speed. So I might just sail where I go. I've had some good lifts coming up this bit now. Coming well into white reefer at the moment, but he's in the next bit of tide, so it's probably the tidal effect. But well, I don't know what I'm saying now. Just gonna have to watch and find out what happens, I guess. It is very hard to film though, because you can't afford to lose the apparent wind, and it's very up and down and shifty, so I can't just put the helm on. In the stronger winds, the gust, the helm can cope with the gust to some extent, but this light stuff, it's so fluky. It's no reflection on the auto helm. You just need a feel for it. You need to be able to see the puffs coming along and understand what the tide's doing and know when it pays to pinch and when it doesn't pay to pinch. They're good auto helms nowadays, but they're not that good. Anyway, back to sailing. I'm on the corner. Stop in a second, but there's white reefer up by the pier. That's me. Pinching too much because the auto helm hasn't got this little puff. And then red reefer and Sulis behind them. I'm not sure if I don't think it's the boat next to her. I don't think it's that boat over there. Where is it? That one? Anyway, I was going to say 5 knots of wind, so I ought to sail. It's just dropped back down to 4. Tactically though, my plan is to sail up to that bit of mud. There's going to be some tidal shelter from this jetty, so it's better to be sailing in something. Oh look, it's just gone. Sailing in something and out of the tide if I can, so I'm coming over here. Let's hope the wind fills in and I'm in a good place to get it. This is really hard work. Kind of hugging this old jetty here. Using it for some tidal shelter, trying to get around it, but what happens is I get a knock, I have to bear off like I've just done, tide gets you, you go backwards. And although I am making headway on it, it's a slow process. It's not just me struggling though. Over there somewhere is Red Reefer. I won't zoom in because I won't be able to focus on it and sail. And White Reefer is somewhere behind that jetty, I think. Oh, there it is, just coming up to the next jetty, so he's got away a bit. Anyway, pressure, 6 knots of wind, I better sail. I think seagulls like me being here. Okay, the novelty's wearing off a bit now. 3 knots of wind. I have got around the corner, so I'm on this big area of light over the mud, which is not too bad now. So a little bit of tidal relief. White Reefer, because you have to do it at some point, has gone right over there, trying to find some tidal relief there. It is the right thing to do because there's a spit of land sticks out from that jetty which stops you getting too close, and of course there's no wind behind it either, so at some point you've got to go over there.
So that beeping you can hear is my depth warning alarm going off, which was my signal to tack. I used it all the way up this part of the beat to good effect. It goes off at 2 metres and I draw 1.7, so there really isn't much room for error. But fortunately for me, it's an accurate system and the mud here is quite level. Aaron in White Reefer didn't have so much luck. Pushing the limits on the other side of the river, he ends up going aground and has to retire.
After the last 2 disastrous tacks, I'm a bit more organised this time. Wait for it the beeper to go. Properly pushing the depths today, but it is a nice, easy, forgiving bit of mud this. God, we've got some pressure now. Look, I don't want to tack. 2.3 metres though. Oh, anyway, the last 2 disastrous tacks, I've explained the first one, and then that last one, I didn't have the new jib ready. When I did go for the tack, the jib sheet was wrapped around the winch handle. There we go. That's better. So White Reefer has properly got away now. It's up there. I think he's pretty much just got to the corner with the old power station and coming up to the faults. And he's clearly, as he's just tacked, working the southern shore now rather than this bit. Okay, this is a shame, but I think the radio message from Aaron just now was that he's run aground. It looks like he's had to drop his main. I guess he's trying to get himself pushed off and couldn't tack around with the main up, but we'll see. Shame if it is. Okay, so I think I should have been paying more attention. That there, I think is Sulis sneaking up on me. Can't see Red Reefer, but I'm not alone. I've got a race on after all. It's getting tricky this bit. Okay, haven't filmed much for a while, but there's Sulis. Caught me up a lot. But all the way along here, as you'll see, are dinghies. That's kind of where I wanted to be. Because you want to get out of the tide. Because you want to get out of the tide, but of course now there's not much water. Actually, there's not that much point in being over there. And Sulis didn't suffer too much being out here. It's just hard work pushing the tide in no wind. Anyway, we are finishing at the Medway Cruising Club line, which is somewhere around there. Taking our own times, so that'll be it. It's been all right, this sail. It's just super frustrating. I think it'd have been better if White Reefer hadn't gone aground, because you know, he deserved to win if he was going to win, and if I could catch him up, then I'd have deserved to catch him up. But for him to go aground and have to retire kind of spoils the race a bit. But anyway, come up to line, and the auto helm is really struggling with this puffy wind. I ought to sail. Come on, wind, don't give up now. Here we go. We really are coming up to it now, which is good because I'm coming up to all these moored boats. Okay. 2, 1, now. 3:08 and 9 seconds on our GPS timed whatever clock. There we go. I've forgotten it already, but Aaron, I recorded it when it happens. Anyway, I better switch this off now and sail. Thanks for watching, everyone. Not sure how many more we're going to have now. I'm going to do the autumn series on a friend's boat, so hopefully we can film something on that. If not, I'm sure we'll find something to film on the water. See you all later.